This cool. So this is what commitment looks like. Monday night after Christmas, we got all these people ready to learn, ready to share, ready to contribute, network. It's how legends are made. You're all legends. So while we wait just a little bit while everyone's still logging on, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I think this is the last call before the New Year's, right? It is. OMG. That's awesome. Well, especially, I guess now double the thanks for being here, for being on this last call of 2022. It has been such a phenomenal year. I don't know where everybody came from, whether you came from my social media or I met you in one of the conferences. Um, you know, I'm extremely grateful. Like this year, because of all of you guys and the contribution and the constant support, I have really taken everything to the next level. My real estate game was taken to the next level, my financials to the next level, my mentorships, my ability to coach, the impact that I feel like I'm making in this world is all, let's just say 10xing, right? Even my relationship at home, it's just I pinch myself sometimes to make sure that this is not a dream. So thank you. Thank you. And there's some people that are on here that I haven't seen in a while. Awesome. You know who you are. Welcome back. um yeah, we'll do today. Uh I'll share a little bit of just my journey because there's a lot of new faces here that I don't recognize. So as we wait for people to come in, my journey really began in the Purple Bible, like most people. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's how it got me into real estate and really understanding what it means to start collecting assets. And the only thing that I consider assets is real estate. When you realize the power of real estate and you actually go through full cycles, taking advantages of the taxes, of just the space itself, what real estate provides you, there is no other game to play. Really. Like people that are trading stocks, trading cryptos, there's a level of I need to double my money, triple my money overnight. That type of energy causes people to make poor choices. I remember when I was trading Forex, there's nothing more fast paced than currency trading. Okay. The money just, the accounts go up and down like it's insane. And they let you leverage. They let you leverage 200, 300 to 1. That means every one of your dollars you can trade 300-400 bucks. And that is really intense. Okay. So um I actually did that when I was in college. And it's just I might as well be playing blackjack. Okay, I didn't really come out with anything, but real estate has always saved my ass every time I strayed off of it. So it took me till I was 26. I don't know what year this was. I bought my first triplex. Now, 26, I was just graduating college. Actually, maybe it was 27. I graduated college. I was in college for 4 presidents. Okay. If anybody is, don't now, if you're judging kids and judging other people now, just think about where I am right now. And then think about Alex being in college for 4 presidents. Ridiculous. But I was learning, I was networking. I knew networking was my biggest thing. And where else would I network at that age than in college? So I opened up a restaurant after college. I was like, this is the best way for me to keep my relationship, my network going. So I opened 2 restaurants on the Rutgers Newark campus. If anybody's in New Jersey, they would know where Newark is. I fell on my face super hard. Okay. I forgot that I was doing real estate. I got super caught up in the restaurant business. 4 years later, I lose my house. I get my car repoed. I am $450,000 in debt, and my credit score was a 400. Okay, this is when I was 31. I'm 36 now. So that's as rock bottom as really you can get. Unless, I mean, besides being hooked on drugs on top of that, but like not knowing where I would go. I moved down to Florida from New Jersey. The only place that I could get was a 175 square foot utility closet where my bed lands in the kitchen, and I was paying $1,100 a month in Pompano Beach. So that's all I had. I couldn't even get a car. I had somebody else help me keep my cell phone open, okay, because I could no longer afford Verizon. Verizon was like $200 a month, so I had to go to T-Mobile. Someone else signed on that for me. I didn't have a laptop, so somebody else signed and got me a laptop, and I was paying. And I ended up working for this transformational this leadership company, and they were paying me $1,200 a month. So you can see that there is no way out. I mean, imagine you're getting paid $1,200 a month, your rent is $1,100, and that's it. What else can I possibly be doing? Right? I mean, how do you get out of that space? And the way out is I leveraged my knowledge in real estate. Okay. And I leveraged my failures to show people that, look, I know how to fail. I know how a business works. I was really successful in my real estate. You know, who wants to go into a partnership? I mean, it took a while. It was the first deal that I'm getting into in partnership. Somebody was like, okay, I'll do it. $46,000. And they invested with me in my first Airbnb deal in Las Vegas. We killed it. We made, I think, $30,000 in the first year in cash, and then we refinanced all that money out. And he's like, dude, this is unreal. I'm like, yeah, it's unreal. I'm like, you want to do another one? He's like, yeah, he'll do another one. And he put two people, referred two people to me. And then I now have three partnerships, both of them growing and I was 50-50 splitting with them. You know, you put the money down, I run it, we split 50-50 profits. And so I did that with about 12 properties. It took me 3 years, 3+ years to get from that where I was in that storage, in that little closet, to $15,000 a month income. And I was still working for $1,200 a month because I just love the transformational personal development type of trainings. Right. So I loved it. That was where I was contributing. I didn't care about the money I made, but that real estate saved my ass again. Okay. And now this past year, or last year, I moved to Peru, and I was there for about a year because my wife couldn't come to the States. I couldn't go to Canada. So we just decided to go to Peru, and we loved it. We stayed there for a whole year. Real estate kept me afloat. I was actually making more money because it cost less down there. So I came back to the States in September, and my net worth grew, my income grew, and then all of a sudden I was able to cash out on all these properties. And now I have like $400,000-$500,000 too. And it was perfect timing. I joined Grant Cardone's real estate club. I went to his conference. I bought the course. Okay, a lot of you guys bought the course for like $900 or whatever. I bought it for like 10 G's. Because that's just, when I don't pay enough, I don't pay enough attention. That's the problem. So I went to the event, and of course, some of you guys know how his sales guys are. They're super aggressive, super pushy. And I gave them my card, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a payment plan. If I don't like it, I'm just going to cancel it next month. Like, that was the mentality. It's so scarce and so scared. And I have met my first mentors, Chris and Maricela, if anybody knows who they are. They taught me the power of investing really in myself. I knew what it was like to invest in myself in courses and mentorships, but I never did it in the $25,000. And they told me, they were like, we're 240 grand in this year, and this is what we created. I was like, 240? I never even made that in a year. Right? So long story short, all of this year, I joined December last year around this time, to the Grant Cardone conference. I mean, to the real estate club. From that point on, I joined a lot more masterminds. I was all about networking and all that stuff. So from then to now, it's about 1 year. I have 800 units as a general partner, about 400 units as a limited partner, and we have 118 units under contract right now. So almost a thousand units in a year. Like, that's possible for me. It means it's super possible for every one of you guys as well. So the purpose of this call and the calls that I do on Mondays and Thursdays, is for me to get to know you guys. All right. I want to get to know everybody, as many people as I can. And B, if I help you guys get to where, like, if I could be the bridge to get you guys from where you are to where I am now, then I'll have more partners. I have 3 goals. There's 3 goals that I personally have declared for myself. 1 is to create 100 general partners. 2 is to be a general partner on a $100 million deal. And then 3 is to raise $100 million myself. So those 3 all go hand in hand. Now, I got a lot of heat from a lot of big players in the multifamily game, especially from Grant, from Ryan Secco, from, you name it, all the big guys that see me pitch deals. They're like, dude, get rid of all these people on your team. Why would you have all these people? It is true that when you bring on a lot of people, you're going to have to leave a lot of things on the table. So just between my last 2 deals, I'll tell you right now, I left $600,000 on the table because I was committed to my first goal, which is to create 100 general partners. Now, those of you guys that have joined deals with me, I'm not saying it to make anybody feel bad or whatever, but these are people that are going to be on my team. If I can have 6 of myself, if I can replicate myself 6 times, I would be able to do a $100 million deal right now. So I'll leave small money on the table because I see a bigger picture. Now, for each one of you guys, you have to decide what's the small money and then what's the big picture. Like, everything else that you're doing this coming up year is about stepping stone to a bigger goal. And a lot of people, on Thursday last week, I was talking about how Nick, who's usually on this call supporting me, he's a general partner on 500 units. One of the first questions I saw in the chat was, hey, Nick, how much cash flow are you getting a month? Or how much cash flow are you getting a month? It's those are good. They're good to know, but to understand that your first year in multifamily, like, I did 800 plus units. I probably, I don't know, got 100 something thousand in acquisition fees, but that's not retirement money. Okay. And all of these deals, they require about 6 months to stabilize before distributions come out. That means I haven't even gotten paid a distribution on anything yet. So it's really for all of us, like, know your big goals, and you want to know that every step is everything that you do is a stepping stone in this next 2 years in the multifamily game. At some point, there will be a turning point where you can retire off of, the acquisition fees, the cash flow that comes from it. But I don't think that's going to happen until you hit 1,500 units. Okay, at least. And speak of my first mentors, I think I just saw them jump on here. Let's see. Let me just double check. Chris and Maricela, are you guys here?
Hola, hola.
OMG.
Hey, guys.
Hey, so I was just telling them how we first met and how you inspired me to, really invest in myself and go all in on multifamily. And you guys continue to be an inspiration. So Thank you. Thank you for showing up.
Of course, any chance we have, we are currently here. We'll come in camera in a second. We are with family, so apologize for that. We didn't mean to interrupt your call.
Oh no, never.
Jumping in here.
Anytime you're here, I'm super grateful and excited.
Good to see y'all here.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that don't know or weren't here in the beginning, when there was like 20 people on my calls, Chris and Maricela were the ones that was like my guest speakers. They believed in me and gave me a shot as well, supported me along the way, was on here and made me seem like an expert because I was able to bring them on these calls. Like, just super amazing to have them here. I'm so grateful. Thank you guys. So those of you guys that don't know, Chris and Maricela are surprise, I guess, guest speakers tonight. If you guys will just
That wasn't intentional.
just share. Yeah, I mean, introduce yourselves and Upplex and what you guys been up to and your inspirational story.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Oh, wow.
Man, it's weird because they say it like that. We're like, it's just our story. It doesn't have to be an inspirational one, but
Oh, it is.
the so part of it is I'm retired military, just retired in September of 2020. The last couple of years of being in the military, we met, and together in 2016, we only had 4 doors between us. But by 2020, we built up our own stuff to be about 35 apartments, all in Austin, Texas. And like I said, in 2020, I retired September, and we switched to syndication model. We didn't know how to do it before, so we found a mentor in being able to syndicate, learn the process, and about 13 months later, we closed our first deal, our first syndicated deals. And what is this? This is December, so 14, maybe 15 months ago is when we closed our first syndication, and it was 138 units. And today we are in just under 1,900 units, 1,888 units as general partners. We closed seven deals in the last 15 months.
Yeah.
So
sick. I mean, this is what's possible for everybody here. And the goal is really to figure out how you get into your first deal. And so how did you guys get into your first deal?
Networking.
being
We
able to fill it out.
yeah, we're mainly talking about what we wanted to do, talking about what our goals were, and so that meant that we had to have our goals clear for our own, because it's really easy when you're first starting to see if you want to go, like Cardone or one of our mentors always talks about going big, think about getting bigger properties, larger properties that are easier to actually manage with third-party property managers. It is easy to kind of go back, and if you're coming from the small multifamily, to find a project, find a fourplex, find 30 units, and then get distracted. It's very easy to find even another asset, or you hear other people doing diversification, where now we are doing that. We are mobile home parks, self-storages, but at the beginning you have to stay narrowing your efforts in one specific goal and one specific asset. And for us was to don't take our eye from what we wanted to do, and we set our goal to close in at least 120 units. That didn't, at that point we didn't have a clear answer why 120. Now that we we're underwriting and looking at how a property that size, it's better economies of scale and dilution of the risks, then it makes sense. But at one point you just kind of have to stick to your goals and have your goals seen by a mentor. When we came up with 100, somebody challenged us and say, well, 100, you're going to have 100 rents paying the same amount of bills coming in, so why not a 120? And that explains the rationale why you want to get more doors under the same deal, because the more doors you have, the more rents you have coming in to pay the same amount of staff insurance, so those are the numbers that now it makes sense. But back then, or we just stick to our goal, engage mentorship, and talked about what we wanted to do. And every call that we had with people like you here in these meetings, we were purposeful and reached out. We have our set goals by the week, how many people we wanted to talk, and our message was always the same. This is where we're coming from. This is where we want to go. We are just looking to who can help us close the gap. And one of those conversations came to fruition. They saw how active we were, and they gave us the first chance, the first opportunity to be a co-GP. And now we have been able to pay forward that opportunity to 11 other first-time general partners to secure their first deal.
Awesome. Yeah, and so you guys heard my commitment to create 100 general partners, and it is from what Chris and Maricela kind of taught me in the beginning, that was their intention, and also the connections. So for those of you guys that think, oh, what does Alex do every day? I am on one-on-one calls at least 11 a day, the entire year. Okay, the entire year. I haven't come across any challenges in raising funds because of that. This group, you guys, whoever's been here since May, has seen this group grow from 23 to sometimes 180 people on this call, right? And this is the consistency, the commitment to it, playing this big game. And we talked about before this call that it's not like if people come and say, hey, I'll do whatever it takes to be a part of your team. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, just show up to the next 4 calls. Or people are like, I don't know how to get on your calendar. And I'm like, well, message me directly on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And that doesn't even happen. Right. So it's like, all you have to do is take one more step to show your commitment. Because then we have, I have people that are like, whatever it takes. And then 2 calls later, they're never to be seen again. Right. So like, we want to see your commitments. Like if I was sharing earlier with the teams that if I wanted to get Grant Cardone's attention, I'm not going to be like, hey, Uncle G, like, this is what I think I can offer. And then that's it. And then the ball's on his court. It's not. The ball is always on your court. Like I buy 50 tickets at a time to go to his conference. Okay. I brought $500,000 of business to him in one real estate summit. Okay. And then I bought 50 10X ladies tickets. I don't even know when that is, but that's just like, this is me showing you commitment, and I've been a part of a bunch of different masterminds, different clubs, different things. And I'm like, like I'm going to be full focused on the 10X community, on getting Grant to, he knows me, but I don't want him to forget me. Like that was one of the big nuggets that he said during the summit was get noticed, but don't get forgotten too. Because it's very easy, especially in this game when things are moving fast, there's tons of people around, don't get forgotten. So, I know a lot of people had questions. I wanted to, the intention was to talk about LLC structure, some of the tax incentives in real estate. Any questions? Usually I have speakers here, so it like cuts a lot of time out, but I really want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. And now that Chris and Maricela are here, that's amazing. I'm excited to hear their responses as well. And you guys are going to get an opportunity to network with each other. We're going to break out into rooms and you'll get to meet each other. Like that's the most exciting part. So don't miss it. Every time I say, hey, it's time for a breakout room, about 20 to 25% of the people drop out. That's not the time to drop out. That's the time. That's the gold right there. Getting to know each other and getting to
have ice cream.
Partnership. Yeah. So you can raise your hands by going to the reaction button and hitting raise hand. And we'll answer any questions. Anything from how do I get started? This is where I am. I have no money. I'm in the hole, blah, 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 all this stuff. Let's get it all out there. Sylvius, go ahead. You go first. Oh, you got a hand clap. That's not a hand raise. All right, Mark, you go ahead then.
Yes, sir. That last statement you just made, a person without any money or any assets to provide to the group, I'm here to learn. I joined the group probably with my last $1,000 attending the conference. So I was just thinking in my mind, it was 1,500 people there. And you have big companies like the Cardone Capital and other companies. Is it possible to grow a portfolio when you have that many people looking at the properties? I mean, is there just an infinite amount of properties to be purchasing, or would it be better just to get in on a deal with somebody else just to get started?
Yeah, I'll answer this one first. I think it's really important to get into your first deal, but it's equally important to vet the people that you're going to get into a deal with, because the number one thing in this game is your reputation. Like, if you mess that up, it's very hard to come back from that, because this community is small, especially if you get into a deal where, you know, there's a big deal where there's a lot of investors and people are in this type of communities. All they have to do is ask, hey, anybody know what do you guys think about Mark? Should we invest with Mark Alexander in his deals? And your reputation, people will know you, especially if you get in a couple deals. Now, being in the first deal is going to teach you way faster than any other thing you're doing. Okay, a lot of people are trying to get it all perfect, and it's no different than one of the people that I'm working with. She's like, I'm afraid to, speak publicly, because she's like, I need to do it perfect first. I need to get it perfect. And everybody has this, I need to get it perfect. I need to understand everything. You're not going to understand anything. If I'm getting into a storage deal, I'm not going to learn everything about storage deals before I get into a deal. I'm going to say, who's been doing storage? Chris and Maricela, you guys want to get into this deal? Like, I'm willing to leave whatever on the table. Okay. I'm not worried about the money. I'm worried about the education. This is free education, passive learning through that, through the right partnerships and getting in that first deal. You'll learn so much more than you can watching YouTube videos, studying numbers, underwriting numbers. All of that is great, but being in that first deal, which comes from contact, you are going to be doing what Chris and Marcella was saying, and what I was saying is connecting constantly. Hey, this is what I'm willing to do. Find out what you can offer, and every single person should know what that is. Anybody doing any deals should know what your offering is. Hey, I got all the time in the world. That's an offer right there. I got all the time in the world. I will be on top of your investor relationships, your newsletters. I can make beautiful newsletters. I'll make sure that it gets out there. I'll make sure everybody feels that like they matter, that invest with us or invest with you, right? That's a gift. And if you just continue to keep pushing and telling people, promoting that this is what my superpower is, you're going to get on a deal. Then you'll have an opportunity to prove yourself. And then you'll earn your way onto another deal, to another deal, to another deal. There are people in deals with me that I'm just like, I can't not have them. Right? Like Ryan and Tatiana here. They're part of a group because they earned their way into a deal. He was like, how do I get into deals? I'm like, well, the easiest way is to invest with us, and then you'll learn, and then just, do whatever I say. And they're like, okay, I'm in. So they invested right away. No questions asked into our deal, came to the Grant Cardone's conference, joined the real estate club, every single step of the way. They just no resistance. So very easily he was able to get in a bunch of deals. Now he's a general partner on about the third deal. Right. So that's a way to do it. But you gotta find out what your superpower and your offering is, and make sure everyone knows. What do you guys think, Chris, Maricela?
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. And sometimes when we talk to people that want to get started, they don't fully take advantage of their own network and or network, how should I say it? Cardone always tells you, and start with the people that already know you and already trust you. They already have a layer less to overcome. You are already are known to them. They trust you. So, and most of them, they want to help you and see you succeed. No, some of that might not be truth for all the family or, you know, close friends. So be prepared for that rejection. But if you don't ask, it's automatically a no. So talk about what you do and what you want to do or what you are doing, especially if you already invested passively or, you know, in any deal. Say if you have a business that you're successful at it, talk about that, because those are skills that are going to be required to join a team. So if you already have that in place, if you're already flipping houses, you have if you raise capital before, even if it's not for multifamily, you know, for any other businesses, that's just social proof that you already are a trustworthy individual. So that will be my advice. No money required, but a lot of education given.
And for those who know real estate, in case you didn't pick it up on what she was saying, if you're in some other business, whether you're a W-2 employee somewhere and you're just doing some basic admin stuff, there's got to be some way that you can convert that into something that's real estate side in your conversations. Even if it's just reviewing deals or seeing the numbers, maybe you're a numbers person, you can review deals to see numbers. If you have seen somebody's pitch deck, then you have an idea of the terms and the information. You make sure to go out. This is stuff that we talked about probably last year when Alex first started this up, was go out, look up the terminology so that you know what you're talking in those terms. Make sure you know what the terminology is, and understand that the people you're speaking to don't necessarily know those terms, to the point that maybe you don't at the moment either. So you just want to be that little extra step up, that you're able to talk coherently to the opportunities that you're looking at. If you're, and again, this is if you're not in real estate already, but if you're not in it, look at deals, understand them, ask questions about them to the general partners so that you can get a deeper understanding. And as you get talking to other people, that starts to flow a little easier. And Grant's number 5 is what? Confidence, right? The more often you get talking about stuff, the more repetition you get going, the more confident you start to feel when you're talking about those deals. So I think Alex has some deals that are out there or have just been out there that he's probably got some pitches that they can share. I know we've got some from our website that we can share, so that you're not going to people right now with an offer for raising capital. You're not trying to get them invested. You just want to get their interest right now. And if once you have their interest, then you're able to go back to them later when you actually have a deal and get an investment from them, hopefully.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually never approached it that way, but that's genius. Thank you.
So
Thank you,
we're talking about things that you can do as of today, even if you don't have the capital ready to invest, or if you don't have a deal. This is actually the best time for you to put yourself out there. The first 100 pitches that you do are not going to be perfect. Your arms, legs, everything is going to be shaking. Like your words are going to be tripping. So the more you practice, the better you're going to get at when you actually have a potential investor that is going to give you $50,000. So think about that. How do you want a deal to be presented to you? How confident do you want the other person to be when they show you, hey, this is something that I'm offering you because it's going to double your money or make you money, right? So be excited about it. Be confident on your words, but that only comes, one, with being an investor, because then you are putting your money where your words are, and 2, with practice. So if you have a pitch deck that you can just dissect, this brings me back to when I was learning English. When I was learning English, I had to understand every single word out of my textbook so I could take the test comprehensively, right? So it wasn't a memorization game. You have to understand the words that are printed, because that any word can be a question from your investor. And if you start like double guessing, or going back to your body habits, your body language is telling them the opposite of what your words are saying, that's just not going to look good. And I will challenge you to role play. If you find a accountability person, accountability body here in the group, and just role play. That's exactly what Cardone and his team and they do that every single day.
Yeah.
So that doesn't cost you anything. And I assure you, how many people are in this call? It's 103. That makes 51 couples. Seriously. But if you don't start by doing that simplest action, how can you tell me that you're committed to this? How do you really, sell that enthusiastic product of your own self? Because we're telling you, we started with our own money. We didn't have any investors when we first started, when we first started pitching, and to have the confidence of hundreds of investors now, like that doesn't come easily, but you have to get started. You should have seen, and I wish I had recorded the first times, but when we first start pitching our own deals, we didn't have the opportunity to practice. We just didn't know. So this is one thing that you can start doing today. As soon as get off this call and call your neighbor, call somebody enthusiastically and share what you learned today. Take one of those pitch decks and dissect it.
One of the things that I'm seeing fly across a little bit more now that she's starting to talk about this stuff, is people's contact information. If you're not reaching out to other people in this group outside of this Monday night call, that's the lack of commitment. That's what I'm going to say. It's your lack of commitment, because everybody on this call should be reaching out, networking, crisscrossing one another. She was talking earlier about 5 to 10 people a week you should be trying to reach out to. It's only 2 people a day during the work week. That's not even counting Saturday, Sunday. We're giving you a break, right? And you're only talking 15 to 30 minutes for each call, and just keep it limited. And it's not an all night thing like Alex can sometimes be. No, I'm just kidding. He's got a good time. You do really good about keeping time as well. And we try to on our other calls. But seriously, you should be reaching out at the end of this. I don't know if you've got the chat set up that people can save it if they're on their computer. But even if one of you just saves the chat and feeds it out, you want to be nice and feed it out to everybody. But get people's emails, get people's phone numbers, set up times to have a call so that you can start crisscrossing. You asked about our first deal and how we got into it. We filled a gap. But in order to fill a gap, you have to let people know what you can do, and they have to realize what it is that they can't do or don't like to do. And the only way that happens is through networking.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for that answer. Patty, go ahead. You got a question.
Hi, thank you. So I have had an accounting, bookkeeping, tax, and insurance business for the last 20 years. And definitely I want to move out of it. One of the things that I've actually loved about the business is helping other businesses grow their business. Those are my clients or other businesses. So now I'm going to add to that the real estate at this point. So my question is, I've been going through and practicing underwriting for the last several days, either like I'm finding apartments for sale, apartment build multifamily for sale, like on Crexy and LoopNet. And I've been just practicing the underwriting process, figuring out if they have enough information. Like sometimes they don't have the cap rate, but they normally do have. I've been able to find the financial statements, the total expenses, the total units, price per unit. And my question is, once I find a unit that I think would, or a property that I think would be actually potential, should I come to you? Should I, direct message you? Should I bring it up in one of these Zooms, or what should I do with that information, Alex?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the thing is, every day I get about 10 or 11 messages like that, right? Like, hey, I have a really great deal and this and that. You have to know my buying criteria, right? So if you're saying I want to be on your team, I want to get a deal, then you're looking and you're committed to doing a deal with me. Then you got to get clear on where is it that Alex is looking at deals. What's the box? What's the criteria that he's looking at deals of? Right? Because there's going to be, I think there's a lot of deals that's going to give you 2x over 5 years. I don't think that's that hard to do in real estate. Okay. Now, where I'm looking is I'm looking in markets that are not highly competed in. Okay. So things like Las Vegas, north of West Palm Beach. Like, I'm not competing in Fort Lauderdale. I'm not competing in Tampa, Houston, Austin, Dallas, any of those markets, because there's so many people competing there that sellers aren't really, they know that they're going to get an offer or something, right? I mean, they know there's a lot going on there. But if you try to find a deal in Las Vegas online, I guarantee you're not going to find a good deal, because nothing is traded online. Everything is traded contact in within Las Vegas. This is why, like, of all the different groups I'm a part of, nobody's doing deals in Las Vegas, right? Nobody's syndicating there. And I believe that what I'm doing there is going to be the next Wynwood. So yeah, I'm going to give you 5x in 2x in 5 years. But there's also a possibility, the upside in there is that if the downtown area turns out to be like Wynwood, we're going to be looking at 5x, 7x, 8x. Right. So yeah, we can get some good deals that way, but I'm not just looking at deals like that. So you want to get super clear on what my buy criteria is. Now, the other part of that is continue to network. There are lots of other people probably on this call as well that are syndicating deals. And this is why the networking is super important. And there are people in here that really has my attention. They are in deals with me. Okay. They've invested with us. They're on our private investor calls. Okay. And other people that have, been a part of different sorts of coaching with me. Right. So I have to give them my attention first. So this is why, you and I, this is the first time we're meeting, on this call. So as much as I want to give you this attention, I get 11 of these a day. Right. And, but there are people, you want to network with people, especially if if you find a deal in my market that I'm looking at. Yeah. As soon as you say, hey, I got a deal in Fort Pierce, you got my attention. Hey, what about this deal in Las Vegas? Yeah, you got my attention. But if you're telling me there's a deal in Tampa, there's a deal in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, like, chances are I've already, everyone's seen those deals because everybody's looking there. Right. So it's really highly competitive there. That's just my 2 cents. So yeah.
And I'll say is that finding a good deal does not mean you have an OM, a T12, and a rent roll.
Mm-hmm.
It really involves you need to have done your first pass on the underwriting, preferably dug in a little bit to ensure that you can get the rent bumps that you're saying that you can get and be able to provide that proof. That's probably the biggest time suck and reason why we don't want to review deeper is when somebody says, hey, I have a great deal. They don't give us any proof. They just, yeah, it's a great deal. I know this market. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. But we need to be able to give something better than that to lenders, and to include one of the things that we like to see is what is the cash on cash and what is that equity multiplier for the investors to make sure that it's not going to be overly aggressive in your underwriting as you write your economic vacancy and your rent bumps. I've seen deals where people pitched a 15% rent bump annually for 5 or 6 years out of a 10-year hold. You can't be that aggressive. You just can't, because you have no idea what 2 years down the road is going to look like. And so most of us teeter off and come well under, I'll say, 5 or less for year 3, and then 4 and 5 are definitely lower than that. So just be aware that just because you bring these things to us, that we're going to take a look at that underwriting. It probably takes a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, depending on your spreadsheet and how involved it is, and how much knowledge we have of that actual spreadsheet. If it's your own, we're going to be a little bit more, have to be a little bit more thorough in how we look at it to make sure the calculations look right. But we can usually review stuff fairly quickly. But we got to see that you put in some effort before we're going to really spend some time on it too.
Yeah.
And
I think I speak the same for Alex.
I think that you make a really good point, Alex. You know, we like you, we get quite a bit of, we call it leads because they're not deals, right? They're leads to possibly a deal. So we get a lot of deals sources, and we give preference to our current investors already, that they already have a relationship because they know our criteria, they know the language, that how we address what, you know, what kind of returns we're looking for investors. So based on that, we probably already had a call or two just to kind of go over what we're looking for, what should they bring, or what to do an inventory, or what their capabilities are: capital, time, experience, lending, you know, or capital raising. So likely we already have those conversations established. So when they actually do send a lead, it's not out of the blue that information came through, because a lot of the times we, you know, just like, how do you get deals? You know, subscribe to the websites. Well, guess what? Everybody here is probably subscribed to the same website. So yes, we all see it. Now we might not immediately go after it, but if somebody that is, you know, boots in the ground, or this is around their neighborhood, yes, we're gonna take the time to see what they have to say. But that also is gonna, you know, it cannot be the first call, hey, I got a deal, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not a deal, at least until we take a look, right? So I will say to, I'm not sure who asked the question, but I will say anyone in here in the call, connect with those that you want to do deals with, because that's what's going to open up the relationship.
And actually, those that you think you want to do a deal with, because once you have that longer conversation, you may realize, oh, you know what, we're not on the same page. You know, you're going to be married to this person for 3 to 5 years, or this group for 3 to 5 years, and you have to get along. You have to figure it out. Anyways,
Yeah.
Speaking of, we actually signed for a 10-year commitment with the 10X Real Estate Investor Club. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to
Thank
be
you so
here.
much.
Amazing.
No problem.
All right, cool. So Silvius, you have a question next.
Thank you very much, Alex. I want to go back to a conversation that we had earlier today. How do we combat the analysis paralysis? You touched on it earlier briefly. I just want to dive a little deeper because I've been in this game for 11 days as of today. 3 days were mainly calls. First 3 days was the seminar. And the past 5 days, I was overwhelmed with information.
Yeah.
And I want to know as much as possible, but I also don't want to get stuck at this level.
Yeah. So here is a couple. That's a great question, because a lot of people analyze forever before even making a phone call. Like, if you see a deal that you like, you have two options. You can sit there and do your own analysis of it, research the markets, you know, spend a whole ton of time doing that. Or you just pick up your phone and you call the broker and you ask the questions that you need. So let's say you want to understand the market really well. Like, if I was to look at any market, before I look at any deal, I would say, all right, Toledo. Okay. Toledo, what am I going to do? I'm going to call the broker. Okay. If I see a deal, hey, I really love your deal. Grant always says this. I love your deal. You always want to let them know you love the deal. And then you ask about the objective you want on that call is A, get the financials about the property, and B, get on their mailing list. Okay. That's the main two. You have an objective. But what you also want to say is, hey, something along the lines of, my team and I, we're coming into this market. You know, we're looking at deals, know your buy criteria. Our deals right now, if I call a broker, I'm going to say under $12 million, we can close, no problem. You know, and here's our track record, and we're looking to come into here. Do you have any deals like this that fit this criteria? Then what I would say is, what do you think about what's the best area to buy in this market? You know, all the way down to the street. Okay, they'll tell you all that they know. Then you ask, this is what I always do too, is I ask for a recommendation for a management company in the area. And then I call the management company, hey, X broker called me, referred me to you. And, you know, we're looking to buy some properties here. What do you think about this? And then what services do you offer? How much does it cost? Right. And then what do you think about the market? What do you think about the area? And then after that conversation, ask them for another referral. Hey, besides the broker that referred me to you, do you have another broker that we can talk to, someone that you like working with? Then you call that person. See, all of these, you got a referral to them. They're not going to be automatically on guard because they got a referral to them. It's not just a cold call. And then you go from broker to management company to broker to management company. You do that about 5-6 times, you'll know the market more than all 5 of those combined. Now you definitely are an expert in the market, and you didn't have to sit there and analyze and all of this, but now you know the market. You have contacts, right? You can drop names. Like, that is going to get you so much further than sitting at home just analyzing a market and, people coming in and this and that. You get the inside scoop of the market from these guys that are there working and they're operating there. All right. So just like pick up the phone and call. And this comes back to that conversation having to sound perfect. Fall on your face a couple times, but just know what your objective is when you're calling. My objective is to get on the email list. Okay. My objective is to get a referral to the next person so that you can talk to as many people as you can in that market. And Grant, or I don't know who taught this to me, but once you do that enough, you'll find that a couple brokers and a couple management companies are the only ones really to be working with over there. And then now when you find a deal there and you tell me about it, I will be sold. I would more be sold because you are an expert on that market, right? So the next Alexis is going to share, but Alexis sold me on Toledo. I was like, Toledo, Ohio. I'm not getting in any deals in Ohio. But because he's such an expert there and he lives there and he's got deals there, I'm like, all right, well, I'm in. And he showed me a bunch of things. I'm like, okay, I can see the potential here. Let's do it. I don't think anywhere else in the country you're buying freaking properties at $39,000 or $50,000, $40,000 a door and getting that like 1.5, 2x, 1.5, 2% rule, which is the income from the property is, monthly income is 1 or 2% of the purchase price, or the down payment, the money that you had to put down. So yeah, that's what I would say to do to combat the analysis paralysis is just take action and call people, make contacts, as many as you can. And get focused on the market too. So many people are not focused and they're all over the place looking at deals in Florida, then Nebraska, maybe not Nebraska, Tennessee, Texas, like all over the place. Become an expert in one area, in one place. All right. So that's what I would say to that. Alexis.
Chris, Maricela, how are you guys? Good to see you both here.
Doing well, and thanks for
How are you doing,
the
Alexis?
kudos from everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, I have one question. So what's the biggest challenge that you guys face in this journey in the last couple of 12 months, I would say?
12 months is it has changed by the month, if not by the week, the market. But you want to answer first and then I answer? I will say,
The last 12 months, our biggest challenge, we like to find our deals. We just haven't had the time to search them out as much as we'd like to. As we would finish up a deal, we ended up helping friends in another one, or we were already in conversation with somebody else as to go on to their team as they got their LOI completed, not completed, but accepted. So our biggest struggle, I'm going to say, over the last 12 months was realizing that we weren't able to do this ourselves, and how were we going to continue to scale. And I know that that's probably so we ended up hiring 6 people this year to help us. We have back office staff to help us with different things. But that is definitely different, and I would say more advanced than a lot of folks, because we know people who've been doing this job for 6 and 8 years. They have more doors than us, and they're still doing it by themselves. But they were taking on 1 or 2 deals a year because that's what they were limited to. That was the only time they could give up. So for us, it was a matter of, and we found the way to solve it, but it was a matter of finding more time, getting ourselves more time to be able to do more things.
Nice.
That time for sure. I think that's everybody's challenge. I think that when it comes to deals, the lending has been what do you call those bull rides and the fair. You just, I mean, it helps to be flexible, but at one point or another, there's definitely a lot of changes. And so I will say if there's retraining on how much money, how much capital you can get from the lender, then you know you are left with a very short amount of time to raise added capital to raise. So sometimes that could be a couple $1 million, and that has been a challenge not only because the investors are you know their returns have been changing, and that's one of the challenges. But then you know you have hesitant investors that we are coming to them with like, hey, our lending just changed and now we're short $2 million, $3 million, you know. And so that kind of puts you in a position when you're bringing capital as you're in that much need, because you are, right? And you also want to sound very calm and confident in your deal. So that has been one of the things that we have done quite a bit of work up front to show and to educate our investors that sometimes deals do require more capital because of changing of lending. It's not that is a bad deal. It's not that we can't get capital. It's that we just need more capital. So that has been one. I will say the going towards the returns, having lower returns when some of our investors were used to 8 to 10% cash on cash, and now the cash on cash has gone pretty much to the lenders when the interest rates keep going up and up, or other closing costs, including the insurance for the interest rate. But we feel confident that if you educate your investors and you explain why, and there's still there's a good this is a good investment opportunity. That has been one of our biggest challenge. But again, a lot of education and being open and more communication than ever. Just show to investors. Investors are trusting you with your money, and so that goes with a lot of responsibility on our end. So I would say that.
And I'm going to go back to the beginning steps of before we ever had a deal. When we first came in, the biggest challenge was not being known and not getting stuff out there. Be open with conversations that people in the US just aren't usually open about. You know, your team needs to know your liquidity, your net worth information before they can come in and say you can fill a gap. Like Alex was saying, he knows that with his lenders, he just tells them, or the brokers, he tells them, yeah, anything $12 million or less, we know we can close it. That's not a problem. The reason is he knows his team has a certain net worth, they can cover the loan, they have a certain amount of liquidity, and they can probably raise a certain amount of capital. And if you know all the criteria that needs to be met for the deal, you come in and let people know. And so maybe the next time he's able to go for a $15 million deal because maybe he didn't know that you have a $3 million net worth, or that you're able to raise $3 million or something along those lines, where we can pick up more information. Even though you may not have a tested investor pool because maybe you've never raised capital before, it's a start. It's a start, and you just have to be open and honest with those things. And those are conversations that people in the States just don't have a conversation about because they're just not comfortable.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next question, Harvey, I want to share just a couple things that I wanted to land for everybody on this call to give some value. Well, the first thing, since we're on the topic of capital raising, is when I got into my first deal, I knew I could bring 700K to the table, right? So I knew I could bring 700K to the table, which obviously, was very attractive to a lot of teams. So when I got into my deal, I raised the 700K. I actually raised 1.1 million on that deal. Then immediately they were like, oh, well, we have deals 2 and 3. Do you want to, come in and raise? I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. Right. I think that's all I got. But yeah, I want in. Ended up raising 900,000 for that deal. And then the next deal came and I was like, I'm definitely wiped out. I don't know anybody else. And I ended up raising 1.1 million on that deal. And then the next deal comes along, I'm like, dude, I definitely am out now. But I knew that I already, my limiting beliefs, I'm already like questioning and doubting my limiting beliefs at this point. Right. And I think that's really important. Everybody needs to have this relationship with their limiting beliefs. It's like, you got to doubt that guy that's talking or whoever is talking upstairs. And we ended up doing a deal that we only had 16 days to raise the money for. It was such a good deal that we found, and we had to go hard day one, and we had like 16 days to raise the deal to really close this thing. And I ended up raising, I think, around $1 million on that deal as well. So whatever limiting beliefs you have about if you could do a deal, or if you have something to offer, or if you could raise money, any of those things, whatever you think your limit and your ceiling is, that is not real. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing I want to talk about tonight is, I promise I would talk about this, is LLC structures for your deals. Okay, I've gone through a lot of attorneys, how to protect yourself, and then CPAs on how to do everything correctly. So I am going to bring my CPA on here in the beginning of next year. Wow, 2023. But here is how you want to do it. For my deals now, when I am a general partner, I am in there with my management LLC. Okay, this is my operations LLC. I'm a GP in there. Whatever the deal is, I'm in there as that LLC. Now, I also have money in the deal. Okay, or if I'm sinking some money in as an LP, I'm going to come into the LP side with my holding company. So there's two companies. One is your operations and one is your holdings. Your holdings are holding your assets. It does nothing else. If you get sued, your holding company is standalone. If your operations company gets sued, your holding company stands alone. So so a lot of people end up mixing it together and doing GP deals and LPs with one LLC. So I just wanted to put that out there first. Of course, talk to your CPA, talk to your attorneys to see, hey, is this the way to do it? They're gonna be like, yeah, make your operations company an S corp and just run all your management operations through that. And your holding company, your LLC, that is in deals as an LP, let it be the LP. Okay, let it stand alone. Everything's going to end up coming back to you anyways, but you want to have layers of protection. All right. So what is your LPLs? Use wealth as advisors. So I do use somebody, I don't know, wealth advisors, is that like part of Rich Dad Poor Dad's thing? Not sure. No. Okay. So maybe not then. So I use somebody that is an extension of Tom Wheelwright, who wrote the book Tax-Free Wealth or something like that. Teaches you all the ways to do real estate. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the tax advantages of being in real estate. This year, I've tripled my income. And I paid no taxes last year. I'm still not going to pay any taxes this year, even though my income was higher. Now, how this works is it's a depreciation when you invest into a property. So for example, if a property is $275,000, the IRS code says you can take your property, you can take it down to zero in 27 and a half years. That means in every year you get 10%. You can write 10% against your capital gains or your passive income. Okay, that's great. Now we do something called the cost segregation, which brings all of that 275K to the first 5 years and majority of it in the first 2 years. That means what is that? 275 times point. Let's just say 65% the first year. That means you get a depreciation bonus of $178,000 for the year. So if you had $100,000 in capital gains from selling real estate or from your passive income, you can write off against it. And if you have more than that, like if your depreciation's more than that, that rolls over to the next year, to the year after, to the year after, until you use that up. That's your losses. On paper, it's your losses. Your property's not really depreciating. It's actually appreciating, but on paper, it's depreciating. You see, this is why real estate, just from the tax side of it, is where everybody should be playing their money. Now, a lot of super wealthy people, when they get to a point where they're making too much money, what do their CPA say? Buy a jet, buy a car, buy a house, or freaking buy a building, get into an investment deal, multifamily deal. Okay, at some point, you're going to be making so much money that you have to put money into multifamily deals so that you can write that off. Either you're going to pay the IRS or you're going to invest in a deal. That's that turning point where you guys want to be at. Now, it's towards your real estate income first, right? If you're doing it, if you're investing, it's going towards your real estate income. If you become a real estate professional, which means, and Grant said this, and I don't think he went deeper into it, but he was like, how many hours do you guys, look at real estate for a year? And he says the number is 750. Yeah. 750 hours for the year. I think it comes out to like 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. Okay. If you do that, you're going to become a real estate professional on paper, which means you can take the depreciation against your W-2 income. Not only your own W-2 income, but your spouse's W-2 income. So imagine you're making $200,000 a year, how much you're paying taxes. But if you invested in real estate instead, and one of you two partners are a real estate professional, now you don't pay that tax. So those of you guys that are making money, that have filing taxes and you're paying, you could not pay it by becoming an investor, becoming a real estate professional. You see, like, it's not just about how much cash flow you're getting. It's about investing your money in an asset where your money increases in value, and the earned money that you have also you get to keep more of. Just that itself is enough for you to be playing the game of real estate. People are still playing crypto and stocks and whatever, all that stuff. If you're going to put it in there long term, fine, by all means, go for it. But see, it's because we get caught up in, oh my God, so much of my money is given away, it's taken from me. So then we get into this state of mind where we need to make money faster in our investments, and most people lose it in crypto, in stocks. You can have a good run, and then all of a sudden you lose a whole bunch of it. Like, it's the same stories over and over and over again. If you're willing to put your money with a company that you don't even know what they're doing, you have no idea what their financials are, why would you not put it in real estate? Like, that's the question. So I personally actually have a new goal for next year, 2023. I want to put $1 million into other people's deals as a true LP. That's my goal. So we'll see. Next year, this time, we'll revisit this conversation. Because majority of this year, I'm like, why would I invest in somebody else's deal as an LP when I put money into my own deals? I triple dip. I make the money on the risk. I make the percentage on the risk. I make the percentage on the capital raise. And then my money drops into an LP. Why would I do anything else? Just like that, I already gained so much more percentage. But it's about becoming passive, right? Truly becoming passive. So, all right, that's all that. That was a lot. I just wanted to throw that out there. I know some of this might go over your head, but that's why you want to stick around on these calls. Come next week, come on Thursday, reach out to me, do one-on-ones, listen to all my spiel on Instagrams. All right, follow me on my Instagram at Alex Lovely, and you'll see. as soon as you follow me, I'm going to be all over your face every single day. All right. But get committed to that. Get committed to having this stuff around you every day. And if you're not getting it, all you got to do is hear about 3, 5, 10, 20 more times and you'll get it. And everything's recorded. Don't worry. We send out the replays. I got to get my YouTube hours watched up as well. So now they're going on to YouTube. But yeah. Okay. Harvey.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking my my question. So I kind of like to talk about the assets that everybody's running away from, those underperforming assets or some of the assets in the maybe the urban communities, or those assets where you know they're underperforming because the owner is an out-of-town investor, or things like that. But they're like, I have an asset that I'm looking at now. Is it has great potential to be to generate a lot of income, but it's not performing well. And it's when I was speaking to the broker, it's at 38% occupied, because for various reasons. People probably not paying their rent, but why they're not paying their rent? It may be one of those things where the owner is not, fixing some of the things, or is poorly managed. All of the above. There's a lot of reasons why that could be happening. But I live in this area. I kind of know it. But we're trained not to go after those C-class assets that are so-called not performing. So I want to talk about that. See how you guys what are some strategies you may have for those of us who are willing to take the risk. So my strategy is to possibly, I know that this asset is in a low income neighborhood, but it's a nice property. It has about close to 100 units, but it has significant growth opportunities, especially if I were able to get this asset in a government housing program.
Yeah.
That's like guaranteed. Once that happens, the occupancy rate will skyrocket. It'll become 90% occupied overnight. So underwriting this deal has been a challenge because it's performing so poorly. So the numbers are heavily skewed. So how do you tackle something like this and even get other people to join you on it?
Yeah. So the first thing is you want to underwrite the deal as is. Then you want to underwrite the deal as the potential that you see. Okay. Now, when a place has 30-something% occupancy and the market occupancy rate is higher than that, then there's value add just by changing management. So that's great. Now, I don't not like Class C deals. I want Class C, but I don't want Class C in a rough neighborhood. Okay, because you still got to love the location. If it's easy for you to get in this deal, it probably means it's going to be hard for you to get out. Now, what I mean by that is if you get this deal, okay, most Class C minus D type of deals, they're going to be in the high 9, 10, 12, 15 cap rates. And you'll be like, wow, the returns are awesome on here. But you get into those deals, when Grant says 32 units, you increase 32 units by $200, you make $1 million, right? Now that's if it's a 5 cap. If it's a 5, 6 cap, you can probably do that. But if you go to the 15 cap, you go to the 12 cap, now raising these rents don't mean as much in appreciation. That's one. And two, it's just going to be a lot more work. There's just a lot more work you're going to have to put in, and you got to think about yourself scaling. If I'm going to scale and this property is going to take up majority of my time, I can't scale. Right. So like, that's the trick about, and that you got to consider about Class C and, those deals that look so attractive because they're giving so much cash returns. If they're giving so much cash returns, there's a problem with it. It means that the appreciation of this property is not going to be as much. Okay. Unless something. So Newark, New Jersey, terrible. Nobody would freaking go there. But I knew, because I went to school there, I was there for 15 years. I knew 4 presidents. I knew what was going on in that place. I knew a Whole Foods was coming. I bought my property for $200,000. Whole Foods says they're in, and they put their place there. My property instantly went up to $600,000. And today it's like 1.2 million, but I had to get out because I ended up losing it, like I said earlier, with my restaurant. But
So what about the fact that there are government housing programs that can support the raising of rents that, or at least making sure that you're offering market rents consistently.
yeah, I mean,
But
I can't really speak to that much. You got to find somebody that's doing that. You got to partner up and link up with somebody that does that. And the fact that you just share that right now, there's 103 people here. Somebody is doing that, and somebody knows somebody that's doing that. That's why the breakout rooms are huge, and that's why asking questions, speaking, and having your hand up, being on video, those are all doing that. There you go. Sean Thomas right there. I'm doing affordable housing. That's who you need to connect with right there. Not me, because I don't want to do that. I don't like to do anything with the government. That's my thing. But that doesn't mean you can't make money. I just don't like somebody else telling me what to do.
Gotcha.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we're going to run 10 more minutes and then we're going to break out. So go ahead, Joe.
How you doing, Alex?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Chris and Marcella. I'm new to the space. My name is Joseph. I do have a two-part question for Chris real quick. Chris, did I understand that you used to be in the military?
I don't know if they're still here. They might have to run.
They already left, but yes, he used to be in. He retired
Okay.
in 2020.
Well, I mean, Alex, you could answer this. So I'm new to the space. I burned the boat. I joined the real estate club. I got connected with your on-calls, Alex. I've been doing it for the last week.
Nice.
Very vital information. I really love it. I've just been trying to learn all the information I can, try to perfect this craft, try to network to get in with the right people. I guess my question is, me transitioning, or from you, you already had some prior real estate experience, but going from that restaurant back to real estate, what was your biggest challenges getting into real estate when you first started, and how did you overcome those challenges?
When I first started the first time, or after I fell on my face?
Yeah, the first time.
The first time was just who's got the money. I ended up having 25K. Who's got the money? How do I get the finances? Because I'm in college. I don't have a W-2. I don't have a job or whatever. And then who's got the deal? Like, I didn't know any of that stuff really. So I ended up borrowing 200K from one of my mom's friends, actually, which I just paid off this month. Finally, after losing everything, we had a deal of $3,000 a month that I'll be paying. And I finally, this month was the last month that I paid it off. But that was from back then, I lost everything, but I'm still committed to paying back what I owed. So I would say that, but the question I think is actually better if I talk about my comeback, and the comeback really comes down to partners. You don't need anything. See, in a deal, like, people are like, I got to perfect this. You don't have to perfect anything. If you know nothing, all you need is 3 people that know everything. You need 3 people that know all of it. 1 person that knows all of it, 1 person to bring the capital, 1 person that's got the time. That's it. You don't really need to know anything. You don't need to have any money. You just need to be a good team player and be a great networker.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, Steph. Oh, Steph is frozen. All right, Mike, you go.
Hey, Alex. Yeah, Steph's my DMV sister. Just wanted to, real quick touch on the LLC question. Comment you made. So I have my own LLC, but I'm only LP in a deal, as you know. Do you recommend going out and getting another LLC to get ready for a GP deal, or once I do eventually GP, that's when I start an LP, S corp or different business?
Well, you should have one ready soon, because I know you're about to be a GP in a deal soon. So you should have that operations LLC ready.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, answer my question. All right, great.
Yeah, and also, everybody, if you see his name right there, his name where his market is, his phone number, that's how you want to be in these rooms. You want to be in these rooms like it's that easy for people to contact you. Okay, go ahead. Elkis. Elkis? You gotta unmute yourself first.
Hi, how are you guys doing? I'm
Hi.
Sidal from Maui, Hawaii. And I'm very new to this area of multifamily. So I've got my Operation LLC. I built that up. And now for my LP LLC, does it need to be a select? It's not an S corp, right?
No.
The LP one. So what is it? Is it an S select?
No, it's just an LLC. It's a single entity LLC.
So it's registered as an S select LLC. It's a single, so it's S select.
I would just say it's just a, I don't know, it's just an LLC, limited liability company, single entity, single ownership one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was my question because I didn't know how that is. I mean, so it's like self-proprietor LLC.
Yeah. So I always have an attorney do it for me, even though it's like $450 for me to do it myself. I pay like $1,200 for the attorney to do it, just because I want to give the attorney more business and I don't want to be dealing with that. Right. Like that's you starting to get to a point where time really matters for you. And they keep records. Like I want them to keep the record for me.
Yeah, but the question is, what type of LLC is the one for the LP? Because there's different types. There's the S corp, there's the S select. What type of one for the passive income?
Yeah, it's not the S corp. Just keep it the most simple LLC you can have. Single owner LLC. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
You're very
I'm just
welcome.
building everything up, so I'm just in
Awesome.
the beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Hawaii's amazing. I just came back from there.
Oh, awesome.
JJ and then Ryan, and then we're going into the breakout.
Hi, I just wanted to say I have my YouTube channel posted in the chat. If anybody wants to go subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be Alex to 1,000 subscribers. So
Oh, snap. How old are you, JJ?
16.
16. All right. So I'm gonna beat this 16-year-old kid in getting to 1,000 subscribers. We're having a little competition here, but I'll let him post his, and I think everybody should support him. This is our next generation. This is gonna be the people that take the generation that's gonna take over everything and handle and take care of us. So subscribe to his success. Good job, JJ.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So yeah, I'm here with Tatiana, and we learned so much in just the past. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been 6 months, and if anybody wants to connect, call me up. You can actually. So my number's on my my chat thing, and then also I put a link in there for my calendar. And I agree. The best way to learn is to get in your first deal, because it really does help you to see exactly how Alex was saying, how you can contribute to a deal, and everybody's got something to add in terms of value. And I was even surprised, and I've said it many times. I mean, there is and I think Chris mentioned it as well, is there is a big correlation with people that have run their own businesses like I have for a little while, and their ability to be able to run meetings and base camp. So like the next deal that we're in right now, like Steph, I put it to do in place that, she's going to go and watch the level 10 video and then the base camp information. And we're refining that process because we learned from the first one, like how we've got to get people engaged and learning that stuff first. I can't just expect them to, be on the same page. So now we're starting out the project with a template. So now we're building a template that we can actually take, from one deal to the next deal, with these project management tools. So it's really cool. And, you know, I only learned that by being in the deal. And now I'm finding more ways that I can contribute, like, you know, VAs. We've been hired, you know, we've got 30 VAs in my company. So, you know, you'll find ways to contribute on a deal. And anybody wants to chat with me, yeah, call me up. Let's go.
Yeah, awesome. And you guys are going to be doing a call soon to talk about systems and management and meetings, right?
Yep, Chris and I. Yep.
Great. So when that comes out, I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it and send it out to everybody just so you guys can have another resource. So good job, Ryan. Ryan and Chris, they're actually the people that I modeled my mentorship off of. Okay, because of working with them, I've built an entire mentorship program around our relationship. Okay, Tariq and Rochelle.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody on here. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on everything that's been said, but also to drive home a point. So last night, Tariq and I were watching Undercover Billionaire, where Grant was like, $100 truck, and I'm gonna find a way to turn this into $1 million business, right? I'm still on episode 2, so we're getting there. But anyway, one thing that really resonated with us and kind of, you know, like one of the points that we really think was very helpful was Grant's thing was he landed in, okay, spoiler alerts, Pueblo, Colorado, in the middle of nowhere. He did not know anybody, but the first thing that he did was to find who the big players were, who the key players were in that town. And for those who are beginning in this journey, that is what you want to do, is find out who that person who's going to help you get to your goal, right? Kind of stalk them. It's okay. We're all stalkers. We're texting, getting on everybody's Calendly. That's fine. It's accepted in this space. I think this is the only place where it's accepted to be a stalker. But the point is, find out who those people are and find out what their needs are and be that person. Solve their problem, right? So I mean, this is true with Alex. You know, like when we first approached him, we're like, Alex, what can we do for you? And he goes, I don't know, what can you do for me? And so we're like, shoot, what can we do for Alex? So that kind of, you know, like helped us or forced us to figure out what we can bring to the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GP deal coming up.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, awesome. You guys are amazing. I look forward to this partnership. Okay, Steph, go ahead. That's it. This is the last question. Where'd you go? This is the second time I called
I
on.
was in it, and now I'm not.
Okay.
Also, yay for me getting the last question. I wanted to go all the way back to a while ago when you were talking about limiting beliefs. And I think I have one, but it's like in my mind, it's like there's like solid reasoning behind it. So I want to get your take on it. My thought is, yes, I can raise capital, but the places where I go to raise capital are pretty much within the same groups that everybody knows. So I don't feel like I'm actually providing any true real value because I don't have a stash of my own investors somewhere. So would you consider that like I'm still doing capital raising because I'm bringing it to pretty much the network that everyone already has and is already in?
Well, look, this is why this is great. This network right here, now we have 98 people left. You're going to connect with somebody on a different level than I will connect with them. Okay, so just because it's all part of the same network, like I live truly in the abundance mindset, or I practice it every day. This is not my network. These are all people that you guys can network with. When you network with each other, you guys should be clear on where they are, what their superpower is, what their contribution is going to be, how can they serve you, and how can you serve them. Those are the two things you got to get answered when you have any networking thing. So when we break out in the next room, you want to get clear on everybody in the room. What do they need? How do I serve them? And how can they serve me? And sometimes how can they serve me is you just write down how liquid they are, how much money they got in equity, all of that stuff. I have a huge list in my thing of people that I connected with, and I don't straight up ask them how much they have. but I will work my way into like, you need to be okay with saying how much money you got. And then I'll ask how much money you got. Like I mean, obviously it doesn't sound like that, those of you guys that have had one-on-one conversations with me, like we don't even go there most of the times. But it's really important that you get that information. How can they serve you? How can you serve them? Because people want to get in deals with me. I'm like, okay, well, how much time do you got? How liquid are you? How much money do you think you can raise? Right? Like you want to get to the point at some point you want to get to the point. So yeah, get that limiting belief out of that you're not a contribution in terms of raising capital, or that you're not bringing anything to the table. Because somebody asked right here, how do you get into a deal without any money? Steph, would you like to just share that, answer that question? Because you're
Without
getting
any
into a
money?
deal with no money.
Yeah, you definitely can. You just have to be networked with somebody who knows the people that you need to know, or somebody who already has everything that you need. So it's very doable.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Steph was on this call. She was smiling every single time. She had her camera on. She's always smiling. Who is this Steph? Like every time I see her on the camera, how come she's so happy? I want more of that smiling, happy thing in my life. Then we start talking and we're like, well, what can you bring to the table? And I start sharing in some of my calls what my challenges are. Some things that are in terms of investor relations. I talked about a challenge that I had, that in the beginning, our groups came together and none of us were good with newsletters, data entry, all that stuff. So we hurt ourselves by not being good communicators with our investors. Okay. So I'm like, we need somebody on the team. Steph's like, me, I'll do it. I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. And so now she's coming in as a general partner, has a certain percentage without anything else. No risk, no money to put up, no money committed to be raised. Doesn't have to do anything. I mean, that is a very nice way to go into a deal as a GP. And that's available for all of you guys. I know that a lot of you probably are thinking, oh, well, what the hell do I have to offer? Blah, blah, blah. All that stupid limiting belief conversations. Just get rid of it and know that it's possible. That's all you need to know. Know that it's possible. Okay. And then doubt all of your limiting beliefs. Whatever comes out of your mouth all the time that sounds like an excuse, stop saying it. Once you stop saying it, you may stop thinking it. All right. So that's where I kind of want to conclude for this. And I want to give everybody the opportunity to network with each other. Now, this is the best part. This is the part where you get to find out from somebody what you can do to serve them and how can they serve you. They're like, let's go. All right, let's see. Create breakout room. Nick is not here. I'm gonna do my best. All
We're
right.
about to be so proud of you right now, Alex.
I'm gonna do 13 breakout rooms. Oh, look at that. People are already dropping out. I'm gonna drop down 12 breakout rooms. Assign automatically. All right, here you go. And you guys we'll do 12 minutes. And I'll give you guys a heads up. Let everybody talk as well. All right, here we go. Go. Go do it. Did I do it?
Hey,
I don't see the thing that says, oh, there we go. Okay.
You got it. I'm in room
Yay.
12. Maybe
what
I'll
room
stick
I'm in.
around, just talk to you, Alex. Did you assign yourself?
No,
No.
you can hang around.
Well, I was curious about the Ogden deal. Did you want to see the pitch deck? I sent it to you, but it looks like maybe you don't have a Canva account.
I do. Let's talk tomorrow about it. We'll
Okay.
fill it out.
What time do you want to talk? Because I have my 9 to 5 and I have to give my attention to that.
Oh,
And
right.
then I have my thing, like we have our mentorship after that. And I know you wanted to have it done. You said you recorded on Tuesday, and I take deadlines very seriously. So I got nervous. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be done.
Don't worry.
by that
We'll get
time.
it done tomorrow. I'll look at what you put in there and I'll add things to it.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. Yeah, I did what I could. So,
Okay. This is your opportunity to go network with someone.
all right, I'm going. I just want to make sure I had a quick chat with you.
All right. All right.
later.
Timer. Ooh. This is how you broadcast a message to everybody. Yeah, let me move you. Hello. We are in breakout rooms right now.